Have you ever believed that memory works like a video camera, recording everything perfectly and then playing it back exactly as it happened whenever you want to remember something? In reality, it works very differently. Memories are not like photographs stored in an unchanging album. Every time you recall an event, your brain does more than simply reopen an old file, it also unintentionally alters it. Your current emotions, new experiences, and the way you view life at that moment can all influence your memories. This means that the past in your mind is not always identical to what actually happened. That may sound a little unsettling, but it is also incredibly fascinating. If memories are constantly changing, then what is really being stored inside our brains? And how can a brief moment survive for many years? To understand how memories are formed, we first need to understand how the brain works. The human brain is one of the most complex structures we know of, containing around 86 billion nerve cells called neurons. Each neuron acts like a messenger, constantly sending and receiving signals from thousands of other neurons through tiny connection points known as synapses. Whenever you see an image, hear a sound, or experience an emotion, millions of neurons become active and exchange information at the same time. What is truly remarkable is that memories are not stored in a single fixed location within the brain. Instead, they exist as patterns of connections among countless neurons. This vast and intricate network forms the foundation of your thoughts, emotions, perceptions, and the entire story of your life. Every moment you experience is actually the result of multiple regions of the brain working at the same time. When you watch a video, your eyes send information to the visual processing area, your ears deliver sound to the auditory processing area, while other regions responsible for language, emotion, and cognition are also working simultaneously. The brain then combines all of these separate signals into a unified experience that you perceive as the present moment. In other words, what you are seeing, hearing, and feeling right now is not created by a single cell or one specific region, but by the coordinated activity of millions of neurons throughout the brain. And it is this unique coordination that forms the foundation for creating new memories. What is the most memorable memory of your life? Share it in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to discover more fascinating mysteries about the brain and the human mind in future videos. Every second, your brain must process an enormous amount of information from the outside world as well as from your own internal thoughts. However, the brain cannot give its full attention to everything at once. As a result, streams of information are constantly competing for attention. Whatever the brain judges to be, the most important becomes the focus of awareness at that moment. When an experience is significant enough, the neurons involved begin to strengthen their connections with one another. At the same time, a special brain structure called the hippocampus is activated to record the blueprint of that experience. This is the very first step in the formation of memory. From a brief passing moment, the brain starts transforming it into an imprint that can be recalled in the future. In the process of storing memories, the hippocampus plays an incredibly important role. You can think of it as a librarian working in a vast library. Rather than storing the full content of every memory, the hippocampus creates an indexing system that helps the brain know where to find information when it is needed. Each new experience is linked to the images, sounds, emotions, and thoughts that occur at the same time. As a result, when a familiar detail appears in the future, such as a scent, a song, or a face, the hippocampus can quickly reactivate the entire network of related neurons. This mechanism allows you to relive moments from the past, even though they may have disappeared from the real world long ago. Although the brain is constantly creating new memories, most of them do not last for long. Every day, you see thousands of images, hear countless sounds, and experience many different events, yet only a small portion of them are retained. This is because newly formed memories are initially very fragile. If they are not reinforced, the connections between the neurons involved gradually weaken and eventually disappear. That is why you may clearly remember a trip from years ago, but struggle to recall what you had for lunch a few weeks ago. Forgetting is not a flaw in the brain, it is a necessary mechanism. If we remembered everything, the brain would quickly become overwhelmed by the enormous amount of information encountered every day. Not every experience has the chance to become a long-term memory. The brain tends to prioritize information that is novel, repeated frequently, or connected to strong emotions. That is why you may struggle to remember an ordinary day, yet vividly recall the moment you received unexpected good news or went through an embarrassing event. Emotions such as happiness, fear, sadness, or excitement signal to the brain that a particular experience is important to your life. Similarly, when you repeatedly think about something or revisit it multiple times, the related neural connections become stronger and more stable. This very mechanism is also the foundation of effective learning. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit the like button to support the channel and help more people discover the fascinating secrets of the human brain. Many people assume that memory formation only happens while studying or experiencing an event. However, a crucial part of the process actually takes place while you are asleep. Even though your body is resting, your brain continues to work. During sleep, the hippocampus replays patterns of neural activity associated with newly formed memories, almost as if it is rehearsing what has just been learned. This process strengthens the connections between neurons and helps transfer memories from temporary storage into long-term memory. That is why a good night's sleep can improve memory far more than spending extra hours studying while exhausted. On the other hand, lack of sleep reduces the brain's ability to consolidate memories, making what you learn or experience much more likely to be forgotten. We often think of recalling a memory as simply opening a video that has been stored in the brain. In reality, the process is far more complex. Every time you revisit an event from the past, that memory temporarily becomes flexible and vulnerable to change. Your current emotions, surroundings, and perspective on life at that moment can unintentionally become woven into the original memory. Once the act of remembering is over, the memory is stored again, but it is no longer exactly the same as it was before. This is why a story you tell repeatedly may gradually become funnier, more emotional, or even somewhat different from what actually happened. It is not a flaw in your mind, it is a natural feature of how the brain works. One of the most common misconceptions about memory is the belief that the clearest and most vivid memories are always the most accurate. In reality, that is not necessarily true. A memory can become incredibly strong because it has been recalled many times or is tied to deep emotions, but that does not guarantee that every detail reflects what actually happened. Over time, the brain may unintentionally add new details, remove old ones, or merge multiple experiences into a single, coherent story. As a result, feeling confident about a memory is not always proof of its accuracy. This helps explain why people who experience the same event can sometimes have very different memories of the exact same situation. As your life changes, the way you view your past changes as well. An experience that once caused you great pain may later become a valuable lesson. A failure that once left you feeling hopeless may eventually be seen as a turning point that helped you grow. This happens because the brain continuously updates memories based on the new knowledge, emotions, and experiences you acquire over time. In a sense, we do not simply live in the present, we are constantly reinterpreting our past. This process is what allows people to adapt, learn, and grow after major life events. While the events themselves can never be changed, the meaning you assign to them can evolve significantly over time. Perhaps the most fascinating thing about memories is that they are not completely locked away in the past. Every time you reflect on an experience, learn a new lesson, or view an event from a different perspective, your brain is quietly adjusting how that memory is stored. This is also why talking about your experiences, practicing self-reflection, or participating in therapy can lead to profound changes. Memories that were once associated with pain, fear, or feelings of failure can gradually become linked to understanding, acceptance, and personal growth. Over time, this process not only changes the way you remember the past, but also transforms the way you see yourself. And if you enjoy content about neuroscience, psychology, and personal development, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and join us for more videos in the future.